Good evening. This is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie, and I want to bring you this quick review of an article that's in the ABA Journal. And it says, and this is the title, Constitution Bars Trump from Presidency. Two conservative law professors conclude an upcoming article. Okay. Now, these two professors, and I'll get down here, their last names were Baude, B-A-U-D-E, and Paulsen, P-A-U-L-S-E-N. And here are the 4 points why they say that the 14th Amendment, Section 3, has its own legitimacy, doesn't need a court ruling to make it work. Okay, here it is. Section 3 of 14 of the 14th Amendment is not a dead letter. What that means is it was brought up to use in against people who fought in the Civil War and wanted to hold office after the war was over because they rose against the federal government. Section 3 was used against them, so that it would take 2/3 of the Congress to grant amnesty to someone who participated on the Confederacy and let them hold office in the United States. But here's the part that is I'm getting to. Section 3 is legally self-executing, meaning it doesn't need legislation or a court decision to bar someone from office. I'm going to read this again, because this is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing what the Supreme Court says, what the Colorado court says. It doesn't mean anything what any court in the land says. Section 3 is legally self-executing, meaning that it does not need legislation or court decision to bar someone from office. The disqualification may and should be followed and carried out by all whose duties are affected by it, including state election officials and state and federal lawmakers. And that says that the secretaries of state and others who control the ballots in all 50 states overrule any court in the land's decision about what to do with the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Whether or not to bar Trump, as is the problem now, and whether or not to bar Trump is solely the decision of the Secretary of State or the person controlling the elections in that state, and no one above that can overrule these secretaries of state because they have the power of the 14th Amendment, Section 3 behind them. The only way they can be overruled is with 2/3 of Congress saying that Trump can run. So if these states, secretaries of states, remove Donald Trump from the ballot, he will not be able to get back on the ballot unless 2/3 of Congress overrides the decision by these secretaries of state to put him back on the ballot. That's the only way. Again, let me read this. I'm going to repeat this a whole lot because I want everybody to see this. And please repost and boost this. Let's get it out in front of everybody because I mean, all these, even the lawyers on here and the lawyers on Twitter and the lawyers all over the internet are waiting for a decision by the Supreme Court on whether or not Donald Trump has immunity, on whether or not Donald Trump can be removed from ballots, and so on and so forth. These two possible Supreme Court cases are sort of taking the forefront in all of the news. Well, I'm here to tell you the Supreme Court's out of it. No matter what they decide, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to read it again so you know why. Section 3 is legally self-executing, meaning that it does not need legislation or court decision to bar someone from office. The disqualification may and should be followed and carried out by all whose duties are affected by it, including state election officials and state and federal lawmakers. There you go. States' rights, Republicans. States' rights. You're always yelling for states' rights. Well, you got it now. States' rights. Donald Trump cannot be on the ballot if the secretaries of state remove him. Okay? Now, every fucking asshole who's out there waiting for a Supreme Court decision to decide whether he can or cannot be on the ballot is ignorant of the law. I'm not an attorney, but I have a PhD and I understand a lot more than a lot of attorneys I've been seeing out there spouting their mouths off about this what's going on here. These two attorneys in this who wrote this article are professors of law. They know what they're talking about. They're professors of constitutional law. This is the truth. This is Amendment 14, Section 3. It is legally self-executing, meaning that it does not need legislation. That means no court decision can affect it. Okay? It's legally self-executing. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. I'm going to try and burn it into your damn brain. It is legally self-executing. Amendment 14, Section 3 is legally self-executing, meaning that it does not need legislation or a court decision to bar someone from office. You hear me? You hear me? Out there? All you people out there? All right, start putting this everywhere. Make this a trend. Make it go whatever. What do they call it? Make it a meme, make it go out, and just put it everywhere on the internet. Post it, boost it, put it on Twitter. I don't care where you put it. Facebook, Instagram. Put it out there everywhere. Okay? I've talked long enough. I've probably talked too much. But anyway, this is the truth of the matter. And I want everybody to understand that. I can't believe how much of the public does not understand that, including attorneys that are out there talking about this. They don't understand constitutional law. That's obvious. Me, someone who's not an attorney, but I have a doctorate, understand more about constitutional law than they do. So I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just telling you what these two professors say about the Constitution and how the Constitution amendment and the sections are legally self-executing. And that applies to all other constitutional amendments and sections. Anyway, this is JC, St. Louis's oldest living hippie, saying, "Pox some more, Jack, and fuck Donald Trump."